All right, we're in 2 Samuel chapter 9. The first question, who was Mephibosheth? According to chapter 4, verse 4, Mephibosheth was the son of Jonathan, David's friend, Saul's son, who had been crippled at the age of 5, running when they heard the news of Saul and Jonathan's death. The second question, why would David's kindness toward him be so unexpected? There are many reasons we can think of, but primarily, he was a rival for David for the throne. Of course, Ishbosheth had been set up as a rival heir after the death of Saul, and now Ishbosheth is dead, and this is a descendant of Saul, the former king. And so it would be reasonable that someone could set up Mephibosheth as a rival king and start another civil war. David, of course, seeking him out would be reasonable, but seeking him out to kill him would make the most sense. But it's unexpected that he would seek out a rival for the throne to show him kindness. What motivated David's kindness towards him? And he states it in verse 1. Is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? In verse 3, he says the kindness of God he wants to show him. He wants to show him kindness, but that last phrase, for Jonathan's sake. He was not seeking him out to show him kindness because I like this guy, Mephibosheth, but he wants to show him kindness for Jonathan's sake. Jonathan is no longer around. Jonathan is dead. And David is probably missing his friend, maybe wanting to somehow express all of the love he has bound up for his friend. And in the absence of Jonathan, how can he show that kindness? He can do it by showing it to a relative of Jonathan, a family member of Jonathan. He can show his kindness to him, expressing that kindness towards Jonathan by doing it to Jonathan's relative. And this is what David does. He seeks out Mephibosheth and brings him to his house, treats him as one of his own sons, and he shows his love, his appreciation, his gratitude for the relationship with Jonathan. He shows that by showing kindness to Mephibosheth. How can we apply this example to ourselves? Well, Jesus is no longer around either. We can't see Jesus. We can't touch Jesus. But how can we show Jesus our love for him? How can we show him the kindness that we desire to show? How can we show him how much we appreciate his sacrifice for us? How can we show him the love that we have for him? Well, Jesus gives us a clue in Matthew chapter 25, the parable of the sheep and the goats, starting from verse 31, going to the end of the chapter. He says that when he comes, he's going to separate the sheep from the goats, the sheep on his right hand, the goats on his left. And he's going to tell the sheep, go into the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Because I was hungry, you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. I was naked, you clothed me. I was sick, you visited me. And I was in prison, and you came to me. They say, when did we see you in this condition, Jesus? When did we see you in this condition? Of course, you're not around anymore. How can we see you hungry and feed you? How can we see you thirsty and give you drink? We don't see you. How could we have shown this kindness to you that you're talking about? Well, Jesus says, inasmuch, in verse 40, as you have done it unto the least of me, and here's the phrase he uses, my brethren. That's not a new phrase to the New Testament. It's used elsewhere in Acts and going on through the epistles, but it's used here in Matthew also. In Matthew chapter 12, that phrase, the brethren, is used to describe, this is Matthew chapter 12, verse 46, while he, Jesus, yet talked to the people, behold, Jesus' mother, and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. His mother and his brethren, that's his relatives, his family members. Jesus says that those who are hungry, those who are sick, those who are in prison, those who are thirsty, those who don't have clothes, those poor individuals, those destitute individuals, these are my relatives, my family members. And if you want to show your love for me, if you, like David, are wanting to express the kindness of God towards me, in my absence, do it to my family members. Yes, it applies to those out there, the homeless individuals, which by the grace of God, many Christians are helping and trying to give them the food they need, give them the shelter they need. And it applies out there to the prisoners, but it also applies to those people in our lives who may be hungry spiritually, thirsty spiritually, those who may be in spiritual prisons, those who are somehow lacking of the material or spiritual needs of life. And Jesus says, these are my family members. And if you, like David, want to show me kindness, want to show your love for me, want to show your gratitude for the kindness I have shown to you, You can do so by extending that kindness, by lavishing that kindness on these individuals, on the poor, physically and spiritually, on the hungry, the sick, the imprisoned, the thirsty, physically and spiritually. Jesus is calling us as Christians to take the opportunity to show our love for him by showing it to his relatives.